morning. I'm Jim Walsh. I'm running for Howard County Council from District 5, which is Western Howard County and the northwest corner of Ellicott City. By profession, I'm an attorney. I have an estates and trust and tax practice in Columbia. I've been involved in Howard County civic and governmental affairs for about 30 years with about a 12-year gap when our kids were little. I served 10 years in the Howard County Board of Appeals. I've learned a lot about land use and development issues and zoning issues when I was serving on the Board of Appeals, which is what really prompted me to run at this time. I also served on the Howard County Charter Review Commission. I'll point out the obvious. I'm the only of 3 District 5 candidates who are here this morning. There's only about 5 people from District 5 in the audience, but I thought it was very important to have this dialogue with the African American Coalition, and I thank you for this opportunity to be here this morning.
Please address how you will ensure women, minorities, and other protected classes have an equal opportunity to apply for top-level decision-maker jobs in Howard County.
One thing that I really have learned is that despite our cultural backgrounds and racial backgrounds and differences, we all basically want the same thing. We want quality education for our children. We want good homes. We want police and fire protection. And I believe, to answer the question, what we need to do is make sure that all opportunities at county level are well publicized, that there is transparency in the opportunities that are available for boards and commissions and appointments and other county functions. Thank you.
The Howard County Council authorized $90 million for TIF to fund the redevelopment of downtown Columbia. What are your views on the TIF deal, and do you think the council should be able to revisit TIF deals if they are altered after receiving the council's approval? So basically, this is regarding TIF, but this is big, it's very important for redevelopment of downtown Columbia. We'd like to get your viewpoints on that. Let's start on that first. So you have
1 minute.
1 minute again, please.
Philosophically, I am opposed to tax incremental financing. I think it's a useful redevelopment tools for distressed jurisdictions that need to add additional incentives for developers to come into that community, but that is not the situation in Howard County. So I am opposed to allowing additional TIFs for any further development in Howard County. However, having said that, having granted the TIF, I think the worst thing you could possibly do is rescind it after a year, because that is just changing the rules in the middle of the game. And businesses cannot rely on an unpredictable environment in the county level. So no new TIFs, but the one that is in place should be allowed to continue. Thank you.
This is a great example of games being played against us, the people, using our money to do it. So a TIF is used in places that, but for the TIF, the property would not be developed. Well, I don't think we can say that about any piece of property in Howard County, right? So unfortunately, we can't go back on this because the deal is done. It's been solidified. In order for the deal to be done, Howard Hughes was to give us Meriwether, and we would give them the $90 million TIF. Well, they gave us Meriwether, so the deal is finished. So there's no going back on this. Now, we ask ourselves, why did we give Howard Hughes $90 million of our money? We did it because they're having some cash flow problems. But is that really our problem? Is it our problem to help a developer who's having cash flow problems with taxpayer money? I say no. And I promise you, these games will stop when I'm on the county council.
Yeah. What is your viewpoint on gun safety? I know Howard County Police has put together this commission, and we're going to do more within the school system. But what is your viewpoint on that? Is there other ways that we can address gun safety outside of schools? Because it doesn't always happen in the school. It happens in homes too. And so I'd like to know your viewpoint. I know it's a loaded question, but it's a very important question. And as I said, put your closing bit into it too, even if it's a 5-second closing. But the other team might go over a little bit, but I think this is an important question for everyone to ask, for everyone to answer. And again, thank you.
Well, I'll accept that in advance as applause for me. Thank you very much. I'm Jim Walsh. I'm running for Howard County Council in District 5. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of the proposals that have been presented by some of the other candidates here. And by the way, for the record, Liz Walsh and I, as far as we know, we are not related, in case anyone was wondering. But I was also going to address the issue about portables in our schools and what a safety hazard that they are, but Liz has already addressed that. I want to talk about some more immediate security measures that we can take right here, right now, that can be effective within a matter of months, as opposed to something that might take 5, 10, 15, 20 years to implement. And that is to upgrade the security in Howard County schools. The harsh reality is that we need to do things like have reinforced doors and windows. We need to have a program where we have security cameras in our school hallways that are tied in directly to the police and other law enforcement. I put out a proposal that I published on March 27th to fund this with a private foundation funded by private donations, which would still be tax deductible even under the new law. It would cost about $40 million to do so, and if every household in Howard County contributed $80 per year for 5 years, we could implement state-of-the-art technological systems to keep our children safe. And that's my top priority.